Hey everybody, welcome on into the studio. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips and this is ClayShare Live. And tonight we have a huge broadcast for you. Huge news. We have a new product launch that we have been working on for months. Really working pretty hard the last few weeks to get this up for you guys. And this is just the beginning of a really exciting new product that we're going to have available for everybody who wants it. All right. You've seen it. You know what we're talking about. It's the downloadable rim templates. Whew. A long time coming to make these happen for you all, but I'm thrilled with them and I'm thrilled with the results. And I know you're going to love it. We put so much time into making this easy for the end user. Every template is sized perfectly when you just download it. You print it out, you don't have to resize. It is going to be the right size for you. And you get, with the 3 designs we have currently available, 10 different template shapes right now, but I think there's 15 downloads because we made it so even if you have just a regular old household printer, you can still print out the largest of these templates. So it's pretty exciting. It is huge. Oh, thank you, Michelle. You're so excited for this. You've been debating on making templates, but this will be a game changer. So you don't have to worry about it, right? Not at all. So what they are is downloadable rim templates. And rim templates are the shapes that we use to make our forms. And I have been making and using rim templates of my own designs for about 15 years now. I have been trying to figure out a really good way to bring these to you, and there really hasn't been one that's worked well for me until now. And so this is the shape, and we're going to have a tutorial session, so I'm going to make at least 3 different plates tonight, so we got a lot going on. But you cut out your shape. Actually, I should hold up. This one right here is my holiday lace, and here it is as a plate. So you see the template, and you can see the finished plate with it. Now, you can use these with GR pottery forms, which is what most people use them with. You can use them with your own drape or hump molds that you've made, whether you've wheel thrown them or hand built them, doesn't matter. Or you can buy plaster molds, or you can even free form and just roll the rim up. So you don't even need a form to make them. But this is giving you a really beautiful template for your rim, right? Now, the great thing about these is there's no waiting. They're never out of stock. There's no shipping fees, no matter where you are in the world. You can get these. It's instant gratification, and you can just print and make. So we have people who bought these. We went live, I think, at 3 o'clock this afternoon with this product. We launched it, and already people are making their templates. I saw one of our members is printing them out on 3D printers. So if you have a regular printer in your house, how can you use these? You just go ahead and download the files. You get all the files. So it's one purchase, and you get all the files. Now, I'm going to tell you how much they are before we get too far along because you're not going to believe it. They're $5 each design. So for $5, you get all of, there's more over here. You get, well, they're on sale for $5. They're going to be $7.50. Thank you for reminding me. But premium members of ClayShare always get 20% off. So right now, you guys that are premium members are going to get them for $4. So for $12, you get all 3. And with that, you get all the files to use on an inkjet printer, all the files you need for using on a Cricut or Silhouette or other die cutter, all the files you need to use on a laser printer, a CNC machine, and you can use those SVGs to do a 3D cutter. Everything. So you bought the grandkids a Cricut for Christmas and you just set it up. Yay! Right, so let me show you. If you have just a regular inkjet printer and you're thinking to yourself, there's no way I can print this out. That's too big. Well, we went ahead and set the files up into quarters. So each file is different. We have whole files. So if you're using a laser cutter, you can, and your laser cutter is big enough, you can just use the whole file. But we went ahead and the big ones, we divided them up into quarters and some in halves, so everybody can use this, so you don't have to think about it. So for this one, this happens to be my marigold pattern. You print this out 4 times, cut along the line, tape it.
You print that file once.
All 4 will come out at once. Yeah. See, look at me not knowing. All 4 come out at once, you print this file, and then you tape them together. And that gives you your template. You then take that paper template, which won't last very long. You either laminate it, you can use packing tape, you can use laminating sheets to do that. You could take your paper template and trace it onto tar paper, trace it onto craft foam or any other material, trace it onto a piece of 1/4 inch MDF hardbacker board and have somebody in your life with a bandsaw or a jigsaw cut it out for you. That's how I did it. When I started, I used paper templates that I did my designs on. I printed them out in bits like this, taped them all together. You should have seen it. I have big 22-inch platters that are in 8 sheets cut out. And then I'd lay that on a piece of hardbacker board and then draw it out and then cut it out. We've come a long way, but you can still do that. Now, say you have a die cutter, like a Cricut, a Silhouette, or one by Brother or another company. You can go ahead and for the smaller files, here's one all ready to go. This is the holiday lace design. This just, you go ahead, print it out, and then you peel it off your mat, and now you have a craft foam template. And that will work for all the sizes that fit on the 12 by 12 template, the mat. And then when you get bigger than that, yes, there's a hole in the center for the wah. Those of you who have GR pottery forms know what I'm talking about, right? And then when you get bigger, what you do is you just print the 2 halves and tape them together. And now you've got your template out of craft foam. And the great thing about this, you got the file. If you damage this, just print it out again. So easy, easy peasy. Again, you could take this craft foam, lay it on some board, right? Trace this out with a Sharpie or other marker, then take that board and have somebody cut that out for you. So a lot of us know people with woodworking tools, with saws and things, if we don't have our own, and you could ask them to do it, or just use your craft foam. I have drawers and drawers of craft foam templates I've been using for years, and they work great. So you do not need to do anything other than this. So there's the Cricut option. Now, if you have a laser printer or a Glowforge or a CNC machine, you know, you're gonna go ahead and be able to print them out on another surface. So I used 1/4 inch MDF to create these right here. It took maybe 30 minutes to do all of them. Pretty easy. If you don't have a laser printer or Glowforge, maybe you have a friend who has one. And then I've had some other people who reached out to me and told me their library has one that that they're allowed to use. They just bring their materials. So you just take your file and you go in and you print it out with your material. You bring your wood and they make it there for you. Or maybe there's a community center or an artist in the area that has one, or a company that will charge a nominal fee, or a friend. I already said a friend, but friends are good. You should make friends with people with laser printers. And if you don't have those and you have a 3D printer or know somebody with a 3D printer, same exact thing. You can go have cutters made where you just cut them. So there's limitless options on ways you can make now. You're not limited. I mean, we've never been limited, right? We've always been able to do this, but now you can get these designs and they all come with the information on them, what the design's name is, the size, GR pottery form, the circle that it works with, and the shape size. So it's there. It's all on it. It's like done for you. And I don't know. That's what I got. What else we got for information? Anybody got any questions? Well, because I'm gonna have to make some pots here, right? Do you need to, what is a Cricut? So a Cricut is a die cutting machine. Silhouette is another company. Brother has one, and those are machines that are like a printer. You hook it up to your computer, and it has blades in it, and this mat goes in the machine, and you just print it or cut it out, really, on craft foam. Now, you could use a vinyl material if you wanted to stick this on something and use a vinyl. You know, if you didn't want to do craft foam. I think craft foam's the best material to use in a Cricut or a Silhouette or any other die cutter machine. So it's just another tool that we can all use to make pots. Will I be doing other templates? Absolutely. I will be doing seasonal templates. I will be doing specialty shaped templates. My plan is to make everything that can match up with GR pottery forms and then some. So there's going to be tons of things. When we launch them, we're always going to launch them at a huge discount. But even at that discount, the price is very low. Like full price is very low. So don't worry about that. That's what we really wanted to do, is make this affordable. I don't want cost to be a problem for anybody for making pottery. That's why our ClayShare membership is such an amazing bargain. That's why everything that we do the best we can by you guys. And you can go to ClayShareMarket.com to get these. When you go to ClayShare Market, you just go down to Rim Templates, and you can see the 3 designs we currently have. Let me show you the pieces I've got here from them. So this is my holiday lace. It's called this because it's based on a plate my great-grandmother had. And it was the one that she had that we kept the nuts in at the holidays. So she had this big, deep plate that all the nuts would be piled up in, and you'd have the nutcracker sitting in there. Well, it was significantly bigger than this, but it gives you an idea. And it's also the same template shape that I used for my Colors for Earth test piece. So folks were asking about this right here. And then that's this one. So I'm going to go through the shapes. That's the holiday lace. If you look at a lot of Middle Eastern pottery plates, you'll see this profile is very popular in a lot of historical forms. So this is a beautiful form if you want to do historical patterning on it. This would be one I would go to. Definitely, right there. The other one that I have is, hey guys, I see lots of people showing up. Woohoo! So this right here is my Avalon, and this is one I've been using the longest. And what I love about this is here it is done with a circle, and I used a homemade stencil and I colored it. I don't know if you want to go to camera 2, and I can show that to the folks there. So this is the Avalon, and I hand colored the stencil when it was on the piece, when it was leather hard, and then I peeled the stencil off, and the stencil I made on my Cricut as well. But there it is with a round form from GR Pottery, and what I really want to show is here is the same Avalon template with a square form. You see how it's a square in there? And then this one is it with the hex. So for the same form, you can use the GR Pottery form squares, you can use the circles, you can use the hexagons, you can use the spherical squares. For some of them, you can even use the spherical triangles. Did I leave any of the forms out? I think those are the best ones. I wouldn't do the ovals. I'm working on oval templates right now. So it's going to be really fun. So that's the Avalon, and here's what the Avalon looks like as a rim template, so you can see the shape. So it's a point with 3 bumps. It's a very traditional form. A lot of my soldier pieces, this is the plate template that I would use to make those. So that's one of, this is my classic, I would say, the ultimate me, right? And then this is my marigold, which is a funny story because it started out not as a marigold. If you look closely at it, you'll actually see they're hearts. They're actually hearts. So that's a heart, that's a heart. And so I drew a bunch of hearts and I made a rim template that's just a whole bunch of hearts on the edge. And once it came out, I realized it looked like a marigold. So here's a plate made with it. This is a placemat, and then speedball underglazes wiped back. So that's this pattern here. And then later we're going to be in prime time making these flowers, but I used that template to make these. So these are the garden flowers we're making next. So many options. So great. So these are instant gratification. You buy them, you have them immediately, you get your file, you get your files, you have all of them set up for you. It's so easy, no resizing, no issues at all there. You don't have to worry about changing it to fit your printer. It's going to fit, and it's going to work for the GR Pottery form because it says which one it works for. All right, I'm cutting the clay slab. We're going to get to it. Don't worry. We're going to do the whole thing. All right, so let's go ahead and make some plates. I'm going to set a couple of these to the side. Let me get a board ready, and I will show you how to use them. Now, you're going to want to think ahead. You have your templates. You got to figure out what you're going to drape them over. You can make your own drape molds. You can buy plaster drape molds. They're pre-made. They're called drape molds. Sometimes they're called hump molds because it's like a little hump. The bowl is a little hump. You can also use GR pottery forms. So here we have my circle stack of GR pottery forms. So they fit all of them right here, including the cutie. So if you have the cutie, so if you have this set of circles, you're good to go, because you're going to be able to make every size plate you want, from the little tiny 3.5-inch cutie all the way up to the biggest one, which I think is a 14-inch. So you can make ginormous plates if you want to with these and the rim templates. The Avalon is a me shape too. Oh, and your sister has a laser printer. It's great when family has things we can use. Yay! So is there craft foam on the ClayShare Amazon shop? I had some on there. I don't know if it's still there. We bought ours at Michael's. You can just buy them by packs. Sometimes Walmart has them. And just go for the least expensive. Don't spend a lot on that. So let's start with the Avalon. And I'm going to make it really simple, and we'll just do a dinner plate size. The dinner plate is going to be the 9.5 GR pottery form. 9.5 rim template with the 8-inch GR pottery form. So that's my dinner plate. You can make a bigger dinner plate if you want to move on up. That's up to you. I do have the 11-inch rim template with the 9.5. So if you want a big dinner plate, I try not to get too big of a plate, because, I'll fill it up and then I have to eat all that. Not that I won't do it, but, as I get older, trying to be more health conscious, not eat everything. So these templates are going to be made however works for you. So the material is up to you. You decide. So it's how you work, what process you work with. So if you like craft foam templates, then you're going to use a craft foam template. I do recommend cutting with craft foam templates. Knives work better. So you're going to want a clay knife to cut. If you're cutting with the MDF or any kind of board, hardbacker board or masonite or anything like that, the needle tool is a better tool for that. And we'll just go ahead and make a plate. Do what I do best. That's make pots, by the way, in case anybody wondered what that was. It's actually making pottery. And so these are available only as a digital download. That's how they are right now. We are not selling a physical product. If I did that, I would have to quit ClayShare, stop making classes and teaching pottery, and just do that full time. And as much as that could be a fun career change, I am not going to do that. The only way that I can make these available currently is as digital downloads. But it works out so much better. And I do recommend, please check in your community. See if there's somebody there with a CNC or laser machine, or if you have a family member with one, or a Glowforge. Glowforges are laser machines. And let them know what you're doing, and they can help you out. And that way, maybe you make them something really nice because they let you use their machine. So make them a set of plates. Say, hey, I got my wood, I got this file, can you cut out these templates? They cut it out for you, and you make them a beautiful set of dishes. Like one place setting. I don't know if I would make them like service for 12. That might be a bit too generous on your part. But if you wanted to make a consistent set of dishes, that is the beautiful thing with this, is every time you cut this out, it's the same size. Every time. There's no guesswork. There's no wondering. With wheel throwing, and look, I'm a wheel thrower, I don't wheel throw plates. Not unless I'm being forced. Like someone has to twist my arm to make me wheel throw plates these days. I only hand build plates. I don't even like wheel throwing plates. I can do it. I don't like it. I will do it if I have to, but okay, enough rambling. So we're going to make one, and I'm not going to put any texture on it. Please don't go into shock. We'll do some with texture before we're all said and done. So you just lay your template. Once I've smoothed both sides, you saw me do that, right? I prepped my surface by smoothing out both sides with the rib. This does a couple things. It lines up the particles. It helps get rid of any memory the clay had before. If your clay was a little stiff, it can tend to soften it up a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and remember there's the hole in the middle if you're using the WA system from GR Pottery Forms. And those of you who have one, you know what I'm talking about. If high school shop teachers would let their students make them, that's a good question. I don't see why they wouldn't. Do you have a high school student that can make one for you? So I'm using a needle tool, and you just let the needle tool ride around. I like the needle tool with these forms better than the knife, and I'm going to tell you why. Whenever you're doing an inward cut, like here, here, and here, with a knife, what happens is the knife cuts in, and then usually you go in the other direction. So you've made two sharp points coming together. That's a point that's going to have a lot of stress on it and is more prone to cracking. The needle tool is just a little round tool that's just plowing through the clay. It's not cutting it really, it's you're really dragging it through, and you're not going to have those issues with the cracking. Now I do compress my rim, and that helps prevent cracking as well, but I will tell you that if you're getting a ton of cracking on those corners, it's probably because you used a knife. Your husband has a machine shop, you're in trouble. And all your pottery friends are gonna love you because now you're gonna be able to make them templates, right? All right, so now let me fix, sorry everybody about my leaning in, I'm trying to adjust that, there we go. I'm gonna take a sheet of plastic because I wanna go ahead and soften these corners. So I just rub my thumb along the edge here. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. And I will, of course, go back when it's leather hard and smooth the edges and make sure that I don't have any rough spots. But what I'm doing here, compressing on those inward, you see right here, compressing on those inward cut areas, and I'm on the side, but I'm also on the top a bit, so it's rounding it over, and that's going to help prevent any cracking you get. And this is going to be true not only for this, anything you make in pottery. If you're getting cracking on any of your pieces, no matter what you use to make your template, give that trick a try. I think it'll help you a lot. So those just joining, the ones I have are made of wood. Yes, because I have a laser cutter, but you can make them out of anything. If you have a printer, you can print them out on paper and then transfer the paper so that you can cut them on wood or craft foam or tar paper. So many options. All right, so I'm lining up my GR pottery form. I'm going to flip this over. Now, if you use the WA, you do it a little different. I will do a WA demo with these. Not tonight because I got so much else to do. There's no way I can get to it, but we will do one, I promise. But there's a little different process for that. Got a little bit of blue underglaze here. That's going, you know what? Whatever, we're going with it. And now we'll just pull this off. And if you have a banding wheel or a turntable or Lazy Susan in your studio, that is one of the tools I think that makes hand building so easy. I'm going to put this here. Then I'm just going to hold this and turn the sponge, just gently wrapping the side down. Don't put too much pressure here, you'll get cracking. We're really just trying to put pressure right here on the side. And you're just folding this down. If you're getting cracking, your clay is too dry, so you need to work a little sooner. Just a little tip. Then I have a little red rib. Now for round forms, this is how I do it. For hex forms, it's a little different because we have flat sides, so we can pull back towards us. And I'll do one of those too. So here's our plate. Now with GR Pottery Forms, the beautiful thing about it is I can let this sit until the clay actually lifts up off the board and then flip it out, and my plate is done. Can add a foot to it if you want to. You do not have to. That's just personal preference and entirely up to you. What is a Lazy Susan? A Lazy Susan is a turntable. Usually it's wooden, and it spins kind of like this. Yeah. So there we have our first plate. It has to dry for a bit. We'll see if we can get it to dry fast enough that I can flip it out, but I will make little ones. Now let's go ahead and do another one, and we'll use a different shape. Let's go ahead and use the holiday lace, and I'll go a little smaller because I want to do a pressed plate. Actually, you know what? Let's do a, I love marigold as pressed plates. So let's go ahead and do one of these. Do you guys want to see the cutie? Want to see how the cutie works? And I can do the cutie as a hex. I'm going to do that as a quick little tutorial. Because maybe there's folks here who've never done pressed plates, so I can show them how to do that. All right, so for this one, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put some texture in it. And I have got a couple things here. I've got this placemat. Actually, it's a table runner that I got last autumn. And I know our folks down in Australia, it's autumn now for you. So this is perfect timing, right? So I have this one right here. And it is, I got it from a craft store. And it's really great because it's long, so I can make basically any size plate or platter I want with it. And of course, like I did in the other one, I didn't put texture. You don't have to put texture on your pots. I know people are falling out of their chairs hearing me say that, but it's true. And then we peel off, and look what we got. It's a little leaf in there. So cute. So here it is. I'll hold it up so you guys can actually see what it looks like. I got it from a hobby or craft store. I'm not sure which one at this moment. I can't remember. I go to every one I can. So just haunt your craft stores, right? So we'll put that over there. And now we're going to do the hex forms. So let me grab my hex forms. They're down here. These are some of my favorite GR pottery forms, are these guys right here. I just love them. I love this shape. So we're going to do the smallest little hex form, and I'm going to use the 5-inch marigold rim template. So we're just going to line this up where you want it. Make sure my clay is released, and then we'll just cut it out. Barbette, I got it at Hobby Lobby. Thank you. I'm glad you remember. So that's where I got that one. I don't know if other hobby stores sell them. Where I live, I'm limited. We have a Michael's, a Joann's, and a Hobby Lobby. I know there's others. There. And then this excess clay you can wedge back up and use for something else or make a foot with it. So here we have our form. I'm going to do the same thing with the plastic. And I do encourage you to try this tip with the plastic. Can you do one plate with craft foam template? Sure. I can. I actually plan to do that shape. Let me just see which one I have. I have a list of what I'm making. So I got to stay with, you know, it's like when musicians do a concert, they have a set list. I have a list, and I got to stick with it. So there is a plan, but I can go off script a little, right? All right, so here we have our little textured circle right there, and we're ready to go ahead and press it in. So I'm going to use this piece of foam, and I'm going to use this little cutie right here. And you just set it in. I like to turn it up so I can look at it. See, so you can look at it too, so that I can see what I'm doing. Make sure it's lined up. These are handmade plates. They don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center. We want it close. We don't want it way off to one side. You definitely don't want it noticeably off, But if it happens, it's not the end of the world. All right, so we're going to press it down, a good press, and then you just flip it out. Let me get another little board to put this on. So the thing I love about the press plates, it's instant gratification again. That seems to be the theme tonight, because you pop it out, and there we have this sweet little dish that fast. So if you're making pottery and you want to make it fast, this is the way to do it. This is one of my favorite ways to make little dishes. All right, so we'll put that one to the side. I don't know if I have a craft foam template printed out the size I need for the thing I plan to do, so I'm going to hold on and wait and see if I can get one, but if not, we're going to just keep on keeping on. And if you've seen any of my classes on ClayShare, you will see me use craft foam templates a million times. They are my go-to. All right, so I want to go ahead and make one, and I want to use a stencil. And I want to pick a shape that I like the stencil to match. And I think I want to go, you know what? I think we are going to go ahead and use the holiday lace, but I'm going to go with this one. See if my clay's almost. So we're going to grab our roller and we're going to stretch the clay just a hair because it's almost big enough, but just not there. Sometime can I show you how the studio's organized? Yeah, I have everything hidden under the table. It's true. Everything, this table has lots of cubbies back here, and it's where all my supplies are because I film. It is not what I would recommend for storage for a working studio or if you teach, because you want your supplies out for your students. But for me, I'm on camera. I have to have things at my fingertips, so I keep everything under here. And you know what? If it's just you working in your studio, it might work really well for you too. Yeah. All right, I want to use a underglaze decal. So I have these right here, and I've used these before. These are my cardinals and birches, and I'm going to use the white. So I'm going to do a white on white piece because the clay I have is B-Mix. B-Mix is a very light clay. That's this right here. And the white will stand out against the B-Mix because the B-Mix is a cream color, and this will be very subtle. It'll be really pretty. It'll have a big winter vibe going for it. And I just got to make sure this size. So the 11-inch rim template works perfectly. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my craft foam because I don't want to waste it. Did I say craft foam? I'm going to cut my underglaze transfer, my underglaze decal. All right, we're going to set this to the side now. Yes, I'm going to cut out my template first, then apply the underglaze transfer. That way I don't get the underglaze transfer on anything that I don't want to have it on. So I can recycle the clay and not worry about it having color on it. So let's go ahead and cut. You guys see everything? Same thing, needle tool, cut around. I do recommend, you know, if you can transfer your files, if you can transfer your image onto board, it'll be faster for you. But craft foam or paper or tar paper, there are potters who their whole career, that's what they use. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a little easier to do it this way. But I will do a craft foam one in a sec. So we'll cut this out. This one has all these little ruffled edges, and I was thinking it would be really pretty with a lace pattern, you know, all of these scallops. And this is very timeless. It does look like something that, you know, you could have found on someone's coffee table in a home a couple hundred years ago or today. So it just depends how you do the surface, whether you make it modern or if you make it more traditional. Now I have other ideas of things you can do with these. You could take this slab right here that I just made, dry it completely flat, and you've made a clay template, right? A clay rim template. You could drape this over a mold that you've made, and you could use it for a bowl mold that already has the profile built in. You just drape your clay on it and then cut it. So there's lots and lots of things you can do with these. All right, again, with our plastic, right? So this clay here starts 3/8 of an inch thick. That's where I start it. And then I thin it down as I'm smoothing it out. And then if I add texture to it, that thins it down again. So often they will end up around 1/4 of an inch thick. I like a plate to have substance to it. If they're too thin, you're more prone to getting warping, and they are easier to break. And we will have tutorials coming up using a Cricut. So if you have a Cricut and you want to know how to cut your own templates, we're going to be putting those up. I think those are going to happen next week is our plan, because we've had so many people request it. So if you have a Cricut and you've been waiting for a reason to get it out of the box, this is the reason. This is your reason right now. You've been using the plastic for your edges, and the girls in your class adopted the same. It's a really great way to round over those edges and help prevent cracking. You still want to go back after it's made and smooth them out and everything, but it's a nice way to get them started. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and take a little extra time, a slightly damp sponge, just wiping along that, because remember, we're putting a underglaze transfer, or sometimes we call them underglaze decals, on the surface, and I want to make sure that I don't smear that decal, and it's going to be difficult to go back in and really finish this edge after I apply the decal, because the decal is going to be there. Does that make sense? You're thinking of getting a Cricut. I have a silhouette and a Cricut, and I really like the Cricut better, but I think that's just me. I know folks that have the silhouette and they love it. So please don't think that what I said is the end all be all in that. Okay, here we have it. Ready to go? Oh, now here you have to make a decision. Which ends up? Are you having the point straight up? Are you going to do 2? See? 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, and then 1 and 1, right? I think we're going to go that way. I'm going to line this up. So when you look at your transfer, your underglaze decal, one side has more color to it. That's the side you put face down. And so we line this up. Actually, I'm going to pull it up a little bit because I want the trees on the bottom. Okay, it's on. And then I'm just going to use this rib to smooth out any wrinkles. Bet you all didn't know we were doing underglaze decal tutorial tonight. And this is from Sambao Studios. Their website is chinaclayart.com. So you can go there and you can get these cardinals and birches. I know when we launched the collab, I designed this for them. They sold out very quickly. I always tell them to make more, but it takes them a little while. So I'm taking a sponge that's damp and I'm just going to pounce it on the surface. This is going to help the underglaze transfer onto the clay. You love your Cricut Maker 3, you've been playing with it, and think about ideas when you're using it. So as you're using it, you're coming up with new ideas on things you can do with it. There are limitless things you can do with a die cutter. Okay, so we pounced it on. You want to make sure it's good and transferred, and you can see how the color got darker? See how it became much more vibrant? That's when you know that there's enough moisture there and that it should transfer. I'm just going to go back over. It's better to take your time and be doubly sure that you've done the transfer than rush and pull it up and only have half of the image transfer. It's very disappointing. This is going to be a sweet little plate. All right, let's check a corner. So we'll do a little peel and see if we're going yet. Are we? Ooh, we look good. Let's go. We're going to peel it. So we've got white on cream with the bright red birds. Super duper cute. Yeah, look at that. And there is some left. You can see where my transfer was. So these bits at the top, I'm going to set this to the side and let it dry. I can cut these out and I keep the scraps so I can do patchwork pottery, and they never go to waste. There's no need to waste anything ever in ceramics. That's one thing I love about pottery, is there's no waste. All right, let's see if I have I didn't grab my cornstarch. I might need someone to run down and grab the cornstarch, but we're going to have to wait for it to dry. So when we do these transfers, oh, I think I got it. When we do these transfers, we have basically wet underglaze on our surface, and you need that to dry. So you have two choices. You wait for that to dry, but what happens is your clay is drying as well. And so then when you drape it over your form, it could crack. So what I do is I use cornstarch, and we just sprinkle a little cornstarch on the surface. If you have old makeup brushes, I'm just using a fan brush that I glaze with normally, but old makeup brushes work great. Guys, you know, when your wives are done with their makeup brushes, snag them. They don't need them. You do. You can use them in the studio. Ladies, same thing, you know. When they get too old, just wash them out really well, let them dry, and bring it to the studio. All right. So the white powder is not at all harmful to the clay. It's just cornstarch. Sometimes, do they call cornstarch arrowroot as well? I think. You might find it listed as that. So depending on where you are. So for this one, I'm going to use, ooh, do we want to use a round or do we want to use another hex forms? You guys, because I think the hex form could be really great. What do you think? I'm going to let you all pick. We're going to see circle or hex. You tell me. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give another board to transfer this onto. Well, you guys tell me what you think you want to see. This one, I'll put this on, transfer it to this board right here. Well, you guys figure it out. Choose your own pottery plate shape. Circle. Okay. So did I make my own transfers? I do have a class on making your own transfers. These right here are a design that I did that Sam Bao makes and sells. I don't sell them because I just can't do everything. I can design them, but that's as far as I can go. I can't handle taking orders and packing and shipping. Like I said, if I did those things, I would not be making pots anymore. Square, circle, oval, round, hex, round, round, hex, 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 square, circle, hex, circle, 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 hex, hex, hex. I think the hexes have it by a hair over. The hexes have it of a hair, have it as a hair. 50-50, flip a coin, right? Well, let's just do the hex. Why? Hex, let's just use the hex. Let's just go there. And actually, last time I used this was on brown clay. So hopefully that won't come back to haunt me. All right, I'm going to check it. Spacing looks pretty good. I need to come up a hair. Now we'll get another plate and I will flip it. You know, I need to go grab another board. And I will flip it over and we will smooth the sides. Am I going to have time to do all the tutorials I want to do? I always have so many more.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. What the heck's? Right? Okay. That shifting is actually not the form shifting. It's just the plate. Whew. That was the form. Hex. All right. Why the hex not? Oh, we went with the hex. But you could do a circle. So I'm just going to use my hands to find my edges gently. Just kind of walk. Do you see I'm walking my hand down it? I'm not really pressing in on the edge where the bottom meets the side wall. That's the biggest problem I see with people using GR pottery forms or any form out there is this transition here. You press too hard right here, it will crack. All right, now we're going to actually take a rib and pull upward towards the form. So we're not even touching here, not even pressing there at all. And this is what gives that really nice crisp hex shape. Same thing if you're doing a square. Next one I do, I'll try to do a square. If we got time, I'll do one more and I'll use the square on the inside with, what one do we want to use the square with? Avalon? I think so. And then you just turn, again, I could have used my banding wheel, but in the interest of all the folks that might not have a banding wheel, I decided to not. All right, and then the last thing I do is very gently with my sponge, just go over the edge. Just at the very edge, I'm just pressing right here, not so hard that I'm squishing the clay, but just enough so it's slightly smoothing that edge there. And then if you want to, this is what I was talking about, compression. You just gently let your finger ride along here, and that's going to compress these inward cuts so we don't get that cracking. And this would be with any cutter, any template you're using that has inward cuts, which is many of them. Basically everything out there has some sort of inward cut. And that's where the most stress will be, and that's the areas that will crack as they dry. So, there. All right, so this has to sit probably overnight. Now, do we want to put feet on it? Do you guys want feet? See how quickly I can put a foot on it? Probably can do it pretty quick. Let me get the cornstarch off. Cornstarch is fine if it gets in your clay and you wedge it back up. It will not hurt clay to reclaim it that has been cornstarched. So if anybody's worried out there and has been hesitating with the cornstarch, don't need to, be fine. You're jazzed about the templates. I'm jazzed that you guys get to get them. I know. And it makes life so much easier. If somebody else was doing the downloadable templates when I started, I can't even imagine. That would have been pretty amazing. And this it just makes it so much easier. You know, if you have limited time, or if you just really like the design. I still buy designs that I didn't make myself. I buy things that are designed by other people. Look, I can't design everything. I try, but I can't. All right, I think 2, 3, is that enough? That might be enough. We're gonna go with those. All right, so I use this foot maker. It's a modified corn cob holder. I have a free tutorial if you wanna make one of these. I think I use a Power Tools or something. Pliers, I don't know. It's a little dangerous. That's not my forte, like I said, but it's entertaining and it's free. So that's one of my free. We have a bunch of free tutorials. You know, all the ClayShare lives that we do every week. This 5 o'clock broadcast is always free. It gives everybody a taste of what you get in ClayShare. And then we do Prime Time, which is a tutorial just for our premium members. In addition to that, I have hundreds of full-length pottery classes and everything. Hand building, wheel throwing, carving, firing kilns, glazing. You name it, we got it. Bit of plaster if you're into plaster, sculpture, and of course we have all the great workshops. But what I like to do with the live is it's a really great opportunity for me to share things that I think are really helpful in making pottery, and to teach a little bit to those out there that, you know, have always wanted to try it and never thought they could make pottery, and then they see this broadcast and are like, wait, I could do that. And you absolutely can do it. So many people come to ClayShare that are new to making pottery, and, you know, within a very short time, they're making amazing pots. I'm going to cut it on an angle. We're going to miter our corners. See how I cut this side here, and then I transfer it over and I use it on this one? And then I'll make this one's cut. So Jeff at GR Pottery Forms is great. He's the one that designs the wooden forms that I've been using tonight. I want to have time to do, I don't know if I will though, I really want to have time to use some of my drape molds, but I think we're going to run out of time. But there will be other broadcasts, so. Could you put an individual foot instead of a ring? Absolutely, but we do have to be careful. This is 11 inch. So we're getting in the land of potentially slumping and sagging. So we have to be careful. So I like to do the foot ring, and actually this one might do a double foot ring on this. Something in the middle to give it a little extra support. And I'll show you a really easy way to do a middle one. So Jeff just released at GR Pottery Forms his spherical rectangles. He's killing me with the spherical. Spherical is not an easy word to say. But he just released those like yesterday, and I didn't know they were coming, so I didn't have a chance, or I would have done rim templates for them. But I have them, and I'm working on it. So those of you who ordered them from Jeff, I'm hoping before they arrive at your doorstep, I can have a downloadable rim template ready for you. All right, so I'm just going to make the little pinch and pinch in on the sides. This will help compress. So I put the foot ring on this for a couple reasons. One, I wanted to elevate the piece a little bit because we went ahead and put that stencil on it. It's a little fancier, a little fancy, not a ton fancy, but I mean, maybe it could be, but you know, a little fancy. And I really like the way a footed plate looks, and I hadn't done a foot for you guys tonight. So you get a foot. So now I think we have to do another on the, I think we do. And I'm going to show you a cheat. This is the cheat way. All right. I'm going to go ahead and, for those who want to do a support on the inside and they're like, ugh, I don't want to do a whole foot ring, you just do a little cross, like a plus sign. So there's one side. And there's the other. And the reason we do this is when we get into these bigger forms, we can sometimes get sagging, and this will help prevent that sagging from happening. So if you want something a little more elegant on the back, you could go ahead and make, usually I do a second foot ring that's the exact same as the first, but you know, I thought I would just do something a little simpler. Let's compress this down in, smooth over the edges, and then you let these dry. So for me in my studio, I will, if I'm starting in the morning and I make these in the morning, I leave them uncovered, and by the end of the day, I can flip them out, flip them over and take them out. If it's late in the day like it is now, I will cover these with plastic, just drape the plastic over them, and then I go ahead and uncover them in the morning and flip them out. Now, one last tiny little thing. I'm going to take this little dowel and I'm just going to press it against this edge to finish it off. Actually rolling it against it. So just a little something on the back to support it, right there. My pieces look clean. Yours look messy. You know what? You will get better at it. And then I love the response, do 1,000 of them in the, yeah. I don't count how many pots I've made anymore. It's not countable. You like putting the foot on 3 of the straight edges. You could totally put it on 3. You know, that's the great thing about making anything in pottery. You pick, right? You just pick it. You like, let's see, what I say is the cutoff size for feet versus foot ring. So this one right here is pretty big. It could sag depending on the clay you're using. If you're using a lower fire clay, I wouldn't worry, but this one right here, this is the 11-inch. I'm usually anything around 9 inches for the outside, anything around 9 inches, then I put foot rings on it. So this one, I definitely do 2 or none, right? You do none like we did on the first one, and it's just flat. You don't have to. So let's see if that first one we made, look, I've made such a mess. I've got pots everywhere. What happened, Jess? I made pots. This is, everybody's like, your studio is so neat, except for today, because, well, making pots just happens. All right, let me put a few things back and I will flip out the one we just did, and then we're gonna have to go. But you guys, get your rim templates and go to claysharemarket.com. They are at a really great introductory price right now. Premium members save 20% off. You cannot lose. It's a great deal, and you can make your own rim templates. I will be adding more sizes and shapes. I will be doing summertime ones. I will be doing holiday ones. I'll be doing themed ones. So there'll be all kinds of stuff coming your way. And don't forget to sign it. I will sign them when they are leather hard. I will go ahead and put black underglaze on it, and then I'll do sgraffito. All right, ready? This is the one we did that had nothing on it. Sometimes fingernails are a bad thing, ladies and guys. Some guys have fingernails, right? And you gouge your piece, just go in gently and clean them up. And if you wait till they're leather hard, you can clean them up then. But here we have it. There's the Avalon as just a regular dinner plate, no foot, you know, just a regular, or you could consider a luncheon plate if you want a big dinner plate. This could be your luncheon plate, and you go the next size up for dinner, right? You want a big dinner? Holiday dinner plate, you'd go bigger. So there we have it. Holy cats. So much stuff happening. Now, I'm going to have to clean this up, and in prime time, folks, we're going to be making garden flowers. So we're going to use the rim templates. I'm going to answer any questions for folks there, and we'll make this right there. And this right here. How would I use the template for a bowl? I didn't have time to do that tonight, but I would just drape it. I would just cut it and I would just drape it. I would go 2 sizes stacked if I'm going to use GR pottery forms, right? I would go up a size and I would drape it over 2 forms. So for this one right here, let me get you the size. I would probably use this size here. Actually, I go 1 more up. I would use the 11. Let me grab it. I wish I had time to do every possible thing you can do with rim templates. I would use this one right here for these 2 smaller hexes. And then depending on the shape, you might be able to make it a little smaller. So that just get you an idea. But I would definitely go up a couple sizes, like 1 size up at least. All right, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Big news at ClayShare. We have a new class coming out tomorrow. Worms. That's right, garden worms, the only kind of worm you want in your garden or flower pots. That class is going to be available for premium members tomorrow. And next, we're going to be doing the garden flowers. Thanks, everyone, for being here with me. And I will see you all